Welcome to Align Your Practice, an exploration of the seamless relationship between the business of chiropractic and the future of natural health care. Join us as we engage with an array of talent, from seasoned experts to passionate new entrepreneurs. Now, here's your host, Dr. Joe Esposito.
Hello, welcome to this edition of the Align Your Practice podcast. This is Dr. Joe Esposito, and I have a guest today, Dr. Raymond Nichols. How you doing, Doc?
Doing well, Doc. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Excited for this topic. We're going to talk a little about mindset and the integration of systems. Is it more important to have the right mindset, or is it more important to have the right system? Which one do you need? You're a big mindset guy like me. I think both of us are not Mr. Systems. So I created a system, you run a system, so it'll be a good dialogue. So let's dive in. So let's start mindset. When I met you at Life University, walking through the halls, I know you said, hey, I'm going to work with Clarine. I'm like, really awesome. I'm going to do an internship or something. We were like dialoguing, and just your presence, your energy showed me a mindset of like positivity and intention. That's just what I picked up immediately, like first impression. But carry me through your mindset from a kid to now. Is it evolving consciousness, or were you just one way through sports? Like, how did you get to where you are?
I think that's a perfect place to start at. So I grew up in Mississippi. So come from a more of a poverty mindset, actually. But it's kind of weird because, like, you know, if when you're living that way, like, you know, that's all you know. So it is what it is, right? And so you don't know any other life or anything like that. So I think, like, coming from that mindset, I thought that, I could only get this far, and like that was the ceiling. But like I think really, like, my thing was I wanted to play college football. And like I had the mindset from the beginning that, like, and I didn't, like, so I didn't know, like, how to put this in words, but I just knew that, hey, I wanted to get out of Laurel, Mississippi, and I wanted to play college football in another state. And that's all, like, was on my mind from the beginning. I'm like, how do I get out of this place? And like sports was my, like, get out, I guess, per se. And so I just put everything I had into my sports, into my grades. I know I had to make sure I had the grades to get into college. And so I ended up getting a scholarship to Nicholls State University in Louisiana. And so I think when I got there, that's when, like, my world just started to open up, because it's like, whoa, like, I get to meet these people from this culture, and I get to see these guys and be around these successful people. And I'm like, okay, there is another, like, level that I didn't know of. And I think that's the beginning of it. But I think that's where, like, the shift started to happen for me, just being able to get out of my own environment and be able to get out of my own way and just be able to see what was possible. Because at first I didn't know what was possible. I just knew that there had to be a different way.
So you did have a fire from the beginning, but it's interesting if going back to childhood, and the reason I like dissecting this is all of us live inside of our limiting beliefs, which are built by stories that we tell ourselves. They're just fabricated stories that dictate the lens in which we view the world, and the journey we take in life is built by the stories, right? You know that. Yep. So back as a child, when you grow up in poverty, did you grow up in poverty with the frustration inside the culture of the family that we don't have? Or did you grow up with love and, like, hey, great life, like, love you, there's positivity? Because there's two different sides of poverty that I've seen. Is
gotcha,
we need that, like, why don't we have that, like, or just love and, like, this is great, we have a great life. Like, how was the upbringing?
Honestly, I would say it might have been a combination of it. I would say in the early years, I would say a lot of, like, just love and, like, just being grateful. But then there were times where I may see another kid at school, and they may have this, or, like, they may drive this car. And then I think that piece where it comes in, like, man, like, no, why can't I have that? Or why can I do that? And just trying to find a way, like, how can I get money to be able to buy this?
But that was that was created by you, not the family. The family wasn't like, we got to get that car. They weren't that way. It was your
It was Yes.
So to me, that's healthier if I like look at things, because if you're in if the family is that way, it sounds like your family wasn't. You just open your eyes to things in the world,
Yeah.
because if the family's like we and you grow up at 2, 3, 4, 5, I think that instills victimhood. Like we'll never have.
Mm.
You open your consciousness of like, I kind of like that. Oh, I like that. You know what I mean? So I think that's positive in a way to strive and see what's out there for us as human to reach our potential in a
Yeah.
healthier way. So that's interesting, really interesting. So okay, so you get to college, and now your consciousness expands of like, wow. And then you know, how do you control that mindset and direct it? You decide to become a chiropractor at some point, but carry that mindset through all the way to becoming a chiro, or going to school, and then like opening the practice. Did that positive mindset just carry you through and it was roses the whole way? And I'm Raymond Nichols, everything's easy. Like how was that second part of life for you?
I would say, I think the mindset is everything. I'm glad we talk about this because I think that really what takes me to where I am today as well, but like has got me through like these the ebbs and flows of life, the ebbs and flows of school, of practice. And so like I think having the mindset of essentially like in my mindset it's just like there's you either sink or you swim, and that's like the mindset like I've always had. Like again, when I was telling you like I wanted to get out of Laurel, Mississippi, and was like I'm going to get out. I don't know how, but like I'm going to do my very very best to find a way to do it. And that was I was affirming that, as you know, as kind of looking back on it, I was affirming that, and it came true. And I put the work in, obviously. And that's the same thing I take today is that I'm gonna put the work in, and like I'm not going to sink. I'm going to swim, right? And that's the only option that I give myself, because that's the only option there is to me. And I do it in a positive light. And I obviously, like you say, like the thing that picked up the most was like positivity, and that's just who I am as a person. And I cannot, just a little quick story here, but growing up, my grandmother, obviously she loved me in that aspect. But I think, and maybe she was just trying to protect me. But so a lot of times, like I would do things for people, like, I would give someone my shirt off my back. I'm just like a serving person, but like she was just saying, like her saying was, hey boy, you so green behind the ears. Like you haven't ripened, essentially, basically what that means. And like she would always say, she's like, you always giving, you always doing this. It's like you can't do that for everybody. You can't do that. You need to stop doing that. And just really trying to like shun me down a little bit. But as I got older, I'm like, man, I think that's my superpower. And like as I'm serving people and right now in this moment, I think that's a superpower that I was strengthening along the way. Because I mean I'm a server and I love to serve people. But again, so I just wanted to share. Is it this
No,
kind
that's
of little
great.
thought I just had? Yeah.
It's a great story. The universe is always balanced, and when we give and give and give, and we give to the point that we're losing ourselves, your grandmother's message comes in your mind to be like, you know what? Let me keep in somewhat exchange, whether it be practice, relationship, right? Grandma's message does help us keep things a little bit in balance, right? But it is the superpower, the way you give, and that's why I think you're such a good servant to your community and how you got your scale. When you open practice without any business knowledge and there wasn't one unknown or two unknowns. You had massive unknowns everywhere, but you stayed positive. You stayed humility. You didn't try to know it all. You leaned on great people. You built relationships. Like, did the mindset carry through that? Because it appears to me that's what you leaned on through so many points of unknowns or stresses. I mean,
Yeah.
family. And you may say, all you got to do is marry a beautiful, brilliant woman, because you did.
Yeah.
But did the mindset carry? Because there are tough times. I don't want people to see Raymond Nichols and be like, oh, he's that social media chiro that can do a vertical jump. I don't know, was it 70 feet I saw one time? I don't want them thinking that you're Mr. Superman. It's like
Gotcha.
you went through stuff, right? And it's
Yeah.
it's funny. Bill Gates says overnight success never took so long. It's like the things people went through when they get to the top. It's not a walk in the park. It's three things, I think. Mindset, we talked about. The second thing is the drive you have says, I will leave, but I don't know how. When I started AlignLife, people said, you're so dumb. You're going to start a franchise and you're going to build a nutrient like custom formulate. How are you going to do that? I'm like, I don't know. You don't have enough money. I know. But I believe quality product, amazing chiropractic, and a system. I just believe it. I don't know how I'll do it. But if I fail, I'll fail forward faster and keep going. Like, I won't stop. Right? I mean, that's the drive that I think some people are missing. Even if they have mindset and systems and they don't like burn the boat and say,
yeah,
I'm leaving. Right? You agree with that?
Yeah. So what comes up to my mindset with me, I think is, and you just kind of reiterate that. So I'm gonna circle back, but basically, almost, and I've been thinking about this, but it's almost like it's kind of a superpower to, I don't want to say to be ignorant, but almost like I'm ignorant to a point where like I can't fail because like I don't know, like legit, like you said, like there's so many unknowns in this, and still to this day there's still unknowns, and like I still ask the question like how are we doing? Like seriously, I still ask that question like how are we doing? Like because there's still some ignorance there. Like again, I still don't know everything. Obviously, I'm learning more and more and more, but I think that piece of it, not knowing, allows me to like continue to venture off into the dark, continue to lean on other people, opposed to like if I knew all these things at the beginning, maybe I wouldn't be here, or maybe I don't know. It's like, man, like it's kind of I guess rewarding to know that okay, I don't know it all, but I'm gonna continue to learn, continue to grow. So like what comes up for me is I think our first year, 2019, we first opened. And you talking about these hard times. And so I think it was around like Thanksgiving, basically around holiday time, right? Our first year out of school, first year in practice. So right around holidays, right? So the practice wasn't doing great, right? And you know the start of the practice and way we got in those aspects, but it wasn't doing great. Our investors was like, hey guys, you need to bring in, I forgot what the number was, this much before December, I believe. And we were nowhere close. I'm talking about they were like probably $5,000 off. I'm like, how the heck we gonna do that?
I love it.
And so we're like legit freaking out. So I lean on my fraternity brothers. Because just like financially, we're like trying to pay for rent, pay for, all the things. I leaned on them, asking for help. They came in clutch at a really, really important, crucial time in our life. I'm very, very grateful for them and helping us financially, but also we had to do more. So like I got a job at J.C.Penney for like just during the holiday season. So at J.C.Penney, like folding clothes, doing whatever they needed me to do. Dr. Mariya, she started doing the delivering groceries. So we did that for like a month and a half, give or take.
Did you have your baby then? Did you have?
Yeah, we had one. We had one. Yeah. She was 1.5 at that time. But like we were doing all these things because like again like. We're not sinking, like we're going to swim. And then just like literally at the end of the month, like for that first year of practice, or not really a whole year, but the first like 8 months, that was December 2019 was the month that like we had a record month. And it was just crazy how like it all worked out because I remember we collected $13,000 that month in December. And we wasn't close to it. I think the month before it might have been like legit, probably like $7,000, $6,000. So it was just really cool just to see like these hard times and like the things that we can like, what we can foster up in hard times and have humility because literally I'm a doctor of chiropractic and like I'm in J.C.Penney and I see a patient in there And like I'm like, oh man, like what are they gonna think of me? And so
Yeah.
like it took a lot, like seriously, it was a lot of humility there to be in that space. Yeah.
Great story. And people don't hear those stories. I always reflect back to Dr. Sebastian Bonin, part of AlignLife, who, when the hurricane hit, and he's the celebrity on TV, everyone knows him, and he's sitting there organizing carts next door at the grocery
Yeah.
store, handing carts to people, just seeing if they're enjoying their day, to just connect with humans, not knowing what to do, but he can't work. There's no electricity. And it's like, here I am getting bit by mosquitoes, handing cards to people. And it really helps our consciousness, I think. I think those moments, Raymond, when you know you had enough grit at that moment to do that and have that level of humility, now that you hit in a month what's equal to $1 million practice last month, which so proud of you guys. I think it takes the one to get the two. I think that's just part of it. And I want listeners who are maybe maybe doing JCPenney right now, or maybe struggling. They just open and I don't want people to think they are, the ship on port is the same power as a ship out to sea in power. It's the same ship. It just hasn't left the port yet. So whoever's on this podcast, if you're listening and you have a story in your mind that's holding you where you are, whether you're in not making it in practice, you're just breaking there, or you're not at your potential, you got to get the humility to break the story so you can expand your consciousness. So I just love stories like that, Raymond. Those are so amazing. I could reflect back to a story of myself, if we're sharing. When we opened the franchise, I had 6 clinics. I made more money than I knew what to do with. And 6 years later into the franchise, I put every penny I had, sold my condos, sold my motorcycle, my jet skis, my boat, my investment accounts, my retirement account, everything to build this nutrient line, hundreds, millions of dollars in this thing, and then this franchise at the same time, to the point that I ran out. So I was at the gas station, I put my debit card in, and I couldn't get gas.
Oh, wow.
15 years in as a doctor, built 6 amazing clinics, hit the top, and then spent every single penny on the dream that I didn't have enough money for gas. And I remember telling myself years earlier, I said, are you willing to give everything for this vision? And I said yes. And I think it was subconsciously me saying to myself, prove it. And I think I created that reality just to prove to my authentic self. I don't know, man, but it changed at that point. But wasn't that a turning point for you? Like at that lowest point, the JCPenney point, that December, and then did it really break? Do you feel that that's what we need as people, to get that adversity sometimes, to challenge your inside, your grit? I don't know. What do you think?
I do. I believe that we need that. And maybe some may disagree, but I believe we need it, because the reason why I say it, because so me and Dr. Mariya, we come from 2 different worlds, like 2 completely different worlds. And so I think it was important for me to come from where I was from, and also from her to come from where she's from, because when we were going through that tough time, like I could tell like it was hard on her. And as again, her partner, I gotta make sure that that, hey, we're gonna be good. And so I let her know, like, just like, hey, things are gonna turn. Like we're in the valley right now, but there are mountains, right? And we're at kind of the bottom. We're at the bottom, but I've been there before, so like it's so familiar. So I'm not afraid to be there, but I don't want to stay there, right? I've been there, and so I'm like, okay, we're good, and we're going to get out of this hole. And so we made a way to do it, and I think we all need that piece of it, because again, I feel like if she didn't have that, then it might have maybe broke her, maybe. Because it can break people if you never had adversity in your life, or you don't know how to respond to it, you don't know how to adapt to it, right? So I think adversity is amazing. So like, give me some adversity. That's why I try to do something hard every single day, because I think that is what's going to allow us to be able to adapt to things that life does throw our way that we didn't know. So I think if someone could do something hard every single day, whereas having a hard conversation or putting your body through something physical, just something. It just builds your capacity to be able to adapt better to life.
I think society has gotten soft, and this is a whole nother podcast, but I think
Yeah.
we got soft. We're physically weaker. We're mentally less challenged because we're giving so much in this world lately. So I do think humanity, in my opinion, I know this is a tangent, but I think we're not. We need to challenge ourselves physically, mentally, like you're saying. I like that daily. Like push yourself physically a little bit today. Push yourself mentally a little. Like let's challenge the system to make it grow. You know, you stress a muscle, it grows, right? You stress a bone, it gets more dense. Like I think we need more of that. So I like what you said, because if we grow up without adversity and it hits, we think it's the end of the world. And you're like, no, this is just what we need right now, right?
Yeah.
So how did AlignLife play a role, like during some of these adversities, like the system aspect? Give me some scoop on that, going from that level to where you are now. Give me a little bit of juice.
Yeah. So crucial without AlignLife, and I'm not saying this just because you're Dr. Joe. Without AlignLife, seriously, we wouldn't be where we're at, because having AlignLife, having the AlignLife, the coaches to lean on, they allowed us to get out of our own way, because that was the problem at the beginning, was that we were just getting our own way with our mindset. If people were going to sign up for care and those things, and so like they helped us, like you guys helped us put things into perspective, because obviously you've been there, and so like it was allow us to catapult opposed to like going through the same things for years and years, and like, hey, okay, I finally figured it out after 10 years. So opposed to now it's just a year and we're like, okay, we got out of that hump, so now the next thing. So AlignLife definitely offered the systems. Like you mentioned in the beginning, I am not a system guy, but it's so weird though, because I'm all about the system when it comes to business. And it's nothing weird. I just kind of figure about myself is that like, so I'm not a good cook. I can follow directions great though. Right. So like if you give me a recipe, like I'm going to follow it to a T. That's why Dr. Mariya always like, you don't have to measure that. Like you just pour it in there. Just not, I'm like, no, you can't do that. Like it says 1 teaspoon of this. So I'm gonna put that 1 teaspoon in. So it's weird that, like, again, I say I'm not a systems guy, but there's some things in life I do use them because it makes it easier. It makes it consistent. I think consistency is what I'm looking for. And then also I think it gives you freedom as well. So it's the systems have been amazing, especially with the point we're at now, like going to like more scaling the practice. So leaning on those systems to make sure that our team knows how to do these things, because eventually we want to be able to take a vacation and then like we don't have to shut the office down. Like it continues to run, it continues to serve the community. Or maybe if something happens and like, I can't practice for a month, whatever it may look like, but like it continues to serve the community, and that's what the business is there for, to do that.
That's awesome. That's such great insight. I like what you said, and this is something you want to tattoo on your arm, is the system creates freedom. Because a lot of us that are not systems people think systems are controlling. And Raymond just said systems creates freedom and great meals, by the way.
and Doc, let me and think of the freedom piece of it. And this is coming from someone like, my core value is freedom. Right? My core value is freedom. So like, for a long time, I was like contradicting myself though, because I'm like, if I'm organized, if I have these systems, and like it's just going to restrict me, I won't have my freedom. But Dr. Christina is the one who actually like flipped the perspective with me and the mindset, and it was like, I'm like, holy cow, I've been contradicting myself for a long time.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to those people. It's really commendable having 4 partners to open a clinic. The only thing that would happen usually in that is it falls apart. Too many people, too much energy, too many leaders. The fact that that group of people climbed out of it with success, and you and your family having an asset, a practice, it was just a beautiful thing to see. Not that it's perfect, but you have someone like Sebastian Bonin with the mindset, like always in the head. You got Joe Clarino, a lover, tough love. You know he's a rock, and you know he's there. You got Chris Beatabod's going to show up down the road. hey, if you need something for the kids, or you know Chris has got your back. And you got Christina like a soldier of the process, like just follow the process, right? So each one carried something, and then you had your brilliant wife right next to you who would embrace the system. So sometimes it takes us an army, like like creating AlignLife. I'm not good at a lot of things. And as our team grows and we have Eric now on board, I'm just blessed on my side. And I see the blessings that you had on your side. So I just want to take a moment to say, it's just beautiful that growing through these things with a tribe and a team.
Yes, that was beautiful, and you're exactly right, because we know exactly who to call for a certain thing, like like a nutrient, right? Like a supplement. It's like, hey, if I need that, I need to go to that supplement because I need that in my body. So it's the same concept.
That's awesome. Well, in closing up, I just want to say my advice to you is just keep your humility. That's a tool for you. I love the way you use it. I love humility with conviction and confidence, and that's what you have. You know where you know your genius, and you're not afraid to step it up, get in the game, play the game, win the game. But you also have humility as you scale to where you are now. And I see a doubling in the next year. I really do. You're now in lane. You're in state, as Tony Robbins says. You're in state now. Now you're going to move. I see it. Keep the humility because it served you so well, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard as you come to this level of elite experience in this beautiful profession. Keep that humility that served you through this time, and I just appreciate that. And my commitment to you is I'm committed to scaling AlignLife at this point with the team we built. I'm ready, and I'm looking for people like a Raymond Nichols that has the heart, has the hands, needs a little business help, but I love seeing you reach your potential. What I see is more doctors in your clinic. I see multiple clinics. I see you as becoming a refined entrepreneur serving this profession in what you do on your social, what you do in your clinic. So I'm really honored to have you part of this organization and be a brother in this profession with you. So congrats for all you've done, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for what you created to allow space for someone like me and other future doctors to be able to step in and do that. So I appreciate that.
Awesome, man.
This episode was brought to you by AlignLife Chiropractic and Natural Health Centers. If you're interested in creating your dream practice or want to know more about AlignLife, go to AlignLifePodcast.com.